Hi student, for homework number one, assignment number one, the first one, you need to try to close one eye and use your pencil to assume for the distance, horizontal and vertical. That means the height in the width from home projects. Don't draw this one. Okay, you just focus on this one only. So now, for example, I have the pencil right here, and I have like 2 feet from the projects. So I assume that I use my pencil to measure the height from the objects, and after that the width from that. So now, for example, I use my pencil, I close one eye, and I assume that from the top, from the projects, top right here, to the bottom right there, and I call that the height from the projects. So I use my finger to mark the bottom from the first to the bottom. So this is the first one. See that this is the first one. So now I assume that this is the bottom one right here. So I use my pencil to do the height from the building, and I mark by my finger. For example, right here. And you see that I mark right here. From the top height to the bottom one. And I keep this one right here. And I turn the pencil to do for the horizontal. And you see that's the left right here in the end, and after that the right point right here in the end, very close with the border. And I use the mark before I did. I have the mark right here, and I use the pencil to measure the right one. So you see that's my finger right here, the mark one. So it's almost very close. So if I can tell you that's the height from here with the width from the projects, that means from the left to the right here, to the left to the right here, and from the top one right here to the bottom one right here is almost very close. You see that here, and I mark on my pencil right here, right? And after that I use this one to do again for the vertical, the left right here. You see that the left from the project right here, and the right from the project right there, straight line, and you can see this one. So and I assume that proportion is 1:1. That means equal or very close. Okay. So now after that, I use the white paper. I draw, for example, right here. You see that? I use the white paper to draw the outline box. You see that's the outline right here, the box right here. The proportion is almost the same. That means the height with the white from that one is similar. So now this is the original one, and I assume I use my pencil to assume the height from the projects, from the height from the top to the bottom. This is the bottom right here, and the top right there. So that's why I assume that's around like this, the distance, the height. After that, I measure, I use the mark I did right here. I measure from the vertical, from the left of the projects to the right from the projects, and you can do the line right here, something like this. And I assume like this. So you see that's the mark I keep right here when I measure the height. So now I measure the width from the project. It's almost the same. So I can assume that the proportion is 1:1. And after I have proportion, for this project it is 1:1. So I create the box in the paper. For example, you have the sketchbook or you have the paper. You take the paper, and after that you create the box with the proportion is 1:1. The reason because before you measure the original it is 1:1. So now I create the box. You look at the box, the high from the box right here and the low from the box right there, and I create the box first. Okay, after I have the box, I continue to divide. For example, this one I divide by 2 right here, draw a line, and this one you call that's construction line. That means the line you use that to sketch. So right now you create the construction lines. In here, in the center from the block, I do the straight line. Same thing with that for vertical one. I do straight right here in the half. You can divide more, half more right here. Same thing with vertical. That means you create more smaller box, so you can easy to draw. To sketch the projects later. So in this case, I divide here by 2. After that, I divide 2 more. Same thing with this one. So basically, I have the small box like this before I have the big box, right? So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I create 16 small box like this. You see that? Okay, so now you can create more. If you want, you can do more, smaller more, but careful for proportion. If you do something in vertical, try to do same thing on the horizontal. So make sure you have the block, it's proportional. Okay, so after that, if I like to draw circle first, I do circle first. If I like to draw rectangular, I start rectangular first. If I like to do the cut half from the cylinder, I do like this first. I do everything depend on which one I like best. But after you do the block like this, you see that the project is on the angle like this. If you look careful, that's have the angle. So that's why after you create the block right here, after you divide by smaller, now you create more angle. For example, on this one, you look at original, the angle right here to there. So you assume this angle right here is less than 40 degrees. Start from here and you draw the line. So that means in the block you create, for example, this is the rectangular. So in the point right here, you start to do the construction line with the angle right here is around 38 degree or 40, something like this. Let me look right here. So now you draw a line. From the top left, you draw the line, angle line. After that, you draw many line more. This one you call that's construction line. You draw parallel angle line because this is angle. This is angle. Some line belong to the project. This is angle, 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 right? And you do like this on the top right here also. So that's why you look right here. This is the angle. And this one parallel with this one, the one you create before. After you have construction line on the angle like this, and you have division from on of the small block like this, you can start to draw. You can start this one first if you like, or you can start this one first, or you can start this one first if you like circle. So now, how do you draw this one? You look at after you division like this, you have this is the block 1, and this is the point from the block 1, right? You can start a circle right there, and this is the point from the second one. This is the second line. This is the first line, and you see that's the circle in here in the center, and it's almost in the center from this one. You see that? So that's why you start from here, you draw the circle. After that, the circle had the thickness outside and the shadow. Okay, So you find this one, and now you go with this one, and you look at this, the angle right here with this one, the cylinder, when they cut the cylinder right here, so you see that you drop a line right there. Now you finish one circle. If you like another circle, you can start from here. If you like the rectangular, you can start right here. For example, you start with the left rectangular. You start this point. You sketch straight line from here to here. And you look at the block you divide before. This is the block you divide before. And this one is around more than half from this one. And you stop from this one. This is angle line, and after that you do another angle line perpendicular with this one, perpendicular with this one. So you draw the line right here on this side. How much you have this here? You up like that, same the distance, and after that you connect the point together. You do the curve, you do straight line. You look at this. This is straight line. This is the line parallel with the line you create from the block before. Straight line, straight line, straight line. We have more straight line on there. When you divide from the box, you remember? So you have many lines to create on here. And this is one of the straight line. So you can start this one, and do the angle. Okay? So basically, the first one you need to create the box by assume. So if I go back here, for example, I go back here. For example, I go back here. And this is the original one. So very beginning, I need to measure, I need to assume the proportion. How can I do that? I keep very far from myself and I use the pencil. The pencil I have right here, and I measure the proportion from the object first. You're just thinking in your mind that you have the height to the bottom one and the left and the side. So use the pencil to measure the distance, mark on there. For example, right here I use the pencil, I measure from the top to the bottom right here, right? The bottom right here. So I assume it's right here, and I mark like this. I put my pencil right here. My mark for the finger right here. So I put it right there. I use this one to measure the vertical, left from right. This is the left line you need to draw. And you look at this. The right one is right there. So you straight up, down. You straight the line down. And you have the mark right here. So you see that if I do like this and this one, it's very close together. That means proportion is 1, 1, equal. And after you know the proportion, you start to do the plot. Take the white paper and you draw the square, because 1, 1, that means equal, and you draw the square. With the scale, you can select the scale on architecture. You can use the scale 1 inches. Look at this, it says 1 inches equal 1 feet 0 inches. And you can start like the equal number. For example, you say 8 for the width. And same thing with this one, because proportion is equal. So you can start with this one and this one. Or you can use another scale. For example, you use the scale 3/4. This is the scale 3/4. 3/4 on the scale units like this. That means they tell you 1 3/4 inches. The real one they call that's 1 feet 0 inches. So 3/4 right here. That means they use the unit 3/4 to count for 1 feet when you measure. You can see that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means they divide that, follow the scale 3/4. 3/4, that means this distance right here is 3/4. And they have a lot of line for divider, or you can measure, because 1 feet equal 12 inches, so they have many dividers. So you can read 6 inches, 3 inches, 9 inches. One of them is 1 feet. So that's why if you look at this, you can see 3, 4 right here. That means the scale 3, 4 equal 1 feet 0 inches. One of them they call that's 1 feet. You can see the unit like this 1, 2, 3, and up going on. And each of them is 3, 4 units. So now, if you want to use another scale, for example 1/8, you look at this 1/8. That means you see the small one right here is 1/8, and they use this one for 1 feet. When you measure right here 1 foot, when you measure right here, they have the number right here 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 4 feet, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 feet. They use this unit and to measure all of them. Okay, so this is you call that architecture scale. With the number right here, you can see 3, 4, 3, 32 inches, or 1/8, something like that. And this one you call that architecture scale. After you use the pencil to assume the distance from the projects, that means the first one you need to figure out the proportion between the height and the width from the projects. If you see that equal and you create the box equal. With the scale, I suggest that you do the 3, 4 scale in this one, 3, 4 scale in this one, to draw the box, and the box around 8 feet. For example, right here, 8 feet right here. You see that? Start from 0 and draw the box from 8 feet, vertical and horizontal. You draw like this, a block before you start to sketch inside here. Okay. For example, right here I have the paper, and I create the block like this. If you see that, okay, this is the block outside. You see that? That's the block outside I create. And after that, I divide this block by half, vertical by half, and I do more. I divide more by half more. So basically, I divide small part from the projects, from the block before I start to sketch. After that, I can sketch which one I like first. After that, finish everything else. If I like cylinder, I can start right here, the cylinder, and I do this one in the first block. This is the first block, the small one. You can start this one first, sketch. Okay, so this is the sketch from different scale with the original one. The original one, you see, you just assume in this one to do the block outside, but this one now you do for the scale you like. But I suggest that you do 3, 4 scale right here, or 1 and equal 1 feet. When you draw that, this one, this one, this one. Either you this scale. When you draw the blocks only, the rest of them you draw by hand. Don't need to do the scale. The scale when you do the block outside, here, you can use the scale to measure the first for the block is straight like this, and after that, the part inside you draw by hand. The one you do for the construction line, for example, right here to here, construction line for the angle, you can draw first like this. You can draw the line like this. You don't need to use the scale. But the block outside, you can use the scale for make sure you have the correct proportion before you start to sketch inside. Okay, so the first one measure, the second one is do for divide. You have the vertical, half of the vertical, you have another line. After that you divide by half more. Do the same thing with vertical. The first one you divide by 2. After that you divide by smaller. So now you have the small box, and depend on each of the project drop in which box, and you can start this one. You like circle, you can start circle first. You like straight, you can start the angle first like this, and after that connect the cylinder. do everything by hand drafting, so you do so fast. For example, this one you can do like this, and do the curve. When you do, you can, you know, mark like this many lines when you finish, because this is the sketch, so try the best you do. For example, right here you can do like this, and this is the angle. The angle right here, when you create before many lines like this, so you can do that. And after that, you start a circle. If you like the circle first, and it's on. For example, this is the first box right here. See the top one? You can straight down, and you mark it right here. It's around half of the second block, and you stop right there. You start a circle inside, and after that you do this one like this. So basically you start part by part. If which one you like, you do first, and construction line you do so light, so that's why you don't need to erase later. Just, you know, the mark when you draw. For example, I have right here, I have another line right here, something like this, because I draw. So that's why I have many construction line. You see that I have many construction line, and I do very light for the basics, so I can draw, so I don't need to erase later. This one, the one I do another color, so you can see that, but the first one I do everything by pencil, and I mark it for different colors, so you can see the one I think it's easier done. Okay, so if I do like this, that means parallel this one, the angle line, and do the same thing like this on different way. For example, right here you can do like this. This is construction line, so that's why you do like this. Or before you create this like this, you do by half, do half again like this, and on like this. That means in the sketch you can start by the block proportion, and the other one you can sketch us. The original one is like this, and when I do in the paper big like that. Okay, don't worry about the top part, you don't need to draw that, but this one you need it. Okay, I think that's the first star you can do like this, and if you do proportion, you can measure, like I show you, and you try to take a paper and you start to draw the proportion box outside. After that, you can do construction line like this, angle line, same thing, and you divide this one by many vertical line like this. Do the same thing with horizontal line like this. So first one, create the box outside. Second one, divide smaller vertical, half of horizontal and 1/4 from horizontal by block. And after that, you start to sketch which one you like. Either this one first, create a line right here for horizontal line, do this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one on the white paper. Okay, this is one example for that. You can create many construction lines like this before you start to draw. I put the number right here. For I remember what it starts from, left, right, angle, and the border outside. Okay, try to practice. This is the first homework, so that's why I give you guys long time, 2 weeks. So try to practice. If you see that's not really good, and you can practice again. This is the sketch, So that's why you can practice many times, and you can't until you feel that is good. You can email to me the one you think that is the best one. Just take a photo and email back to me. Okay.